Hi there, I'm Chris Devine, and this is Six String World. As I promised, I would have a gig report on my cover band's first show of 2021. It's been a long, crazy trip getting this aspect of my musical life heading in an overall normal direction, and I have to say it was challenging, nerve-wracking, and ultimately a relief. Our last gig was in August of 2020, and since then our band got together on a semi-regular basis to run through things. It wasn't easy. We thankfully didn't run into any real big issues getting together, and I personally think those practices and get-togethers kept me from losing my marbles during such a crazy time. I'm also happy to say I'm really lucky to have the people in my band. They're really good people and they are great friends, and that is something I don't think is lost on me in this situation. So I really appreciate that. But anyways, here's what I ended up packing for the gig. I got my PRS CE24. I also brought my PRS Mira and my PRS baritone. The CE24 did most of the duty with the Mira as a backup. Just before the gig, I restrung all my guitars, and I think I may bump the Mira to number one for the next electric gig. I'm debating putting a set of Seymour Duncan Cyclone Filtertron style pickups in here, and I know it won't happen till the end of the summer, so I do have some time to mess around with this as it is, so no worries there, but it's something I have on the horizon in the foreseeable future. My pedal board with the MS3 and the Earthquaker devices, Astral Destiny, Electro-Harmonic Synth 9, and the Nobels ODR1 Mini. I did streamline some of the presets on the MS3, and I had it in manual or stomp box mode for some of the songs. One interesting point I did notice during rehearsals is that I didn't really use or need the Synth 9. I did have it on there just in case, but during practice it never got called on, so I guess I'm going to have an open spot on my MS3 in the near future, so we'll have to find something cool to put there. That'll be interesting. Was planning on bringing my Fender Blues Jr. However, PRS Guitars sent me their new Archon 50, and I decided that this would be an appropriate situation to put it through its paces. I did have a few practices under my belt with this amp, so I wasn't flying blind. Overall, it's a great amp, and it may have made me rethink the pedal platform concept of amp and pedal board. I'm kind of sorting that out in the aftermath of those practices and this gig, so it's kind of interesting. Look for a full in-depth review coming up in an issue of Performer Magazine for a review on the Archon 50 combo. As I had an amp with a really nice and sophisticated drive channel, I used the amp's lead channel for 90% of the overdriven tones, and it was really nice. It's been a very long time since I had an amp that I could rely on its own drive channel, and it's kind of refreshing in a very unique way. It's a high gain amp, but if you back the gain off, you get pretty much an overall usable for everything. Maybe ride the volume control if you want to go down a little bit. There's a lot you can do with it, and it's not just a high gain monster, which is pretty. It's got some other tricks up its sleeve, which is very cool. One thing I did happen to get before the gig also is a bag from 3V. My bass player turned me on to this, and I have to admit I'm a bagaholic. But this is kind of a middle ground between my Timbuktu backpack, which is great for bigger tasks like holding my ME70 and possibly anything I need for a gig, like for my acoustic band, where I have everything kind of in one bag. And I also happen to have a Timbuktu cross bag, which is kind of more of like an everyday carry or a travel bag. It's great for stuff like your wallet, a passport, sunglasses, things like that. If you're getting around, you don't want everything in your pockets, which is very cool. I've used it for gigs where I've been able to fit capos and strings and picks and all sorts of other things in there. So there is a purpose for this 3V bag right between the two bags that I've mentioned. And I like Timbuktu, but this 3V bag is definitely earned its keep. So I was able to stuff all that stuff in there, the typical things. Also, I was able to get my iPad in there and my page turning device, as well as the amp switch for the PRS amp. So that worked out very well. Now, in the area below, I will post the set lists for what we played and the artists we covered for this. My favorite songs to play out of these sets were Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, Inside Out by Eve 6, because the chord changes are really interesting. The song Perfect by Pink is also great because I love creating like a synth atmosphere that fills things up nicely with the Astral Destiny pedal. That really, that shimmer effect really does give a nice airiness to it, which works out very well. The baritone made more than a few appearances, such as on the Paula Abdul song, Straight Up. It added a very cool vibe to that song, but I think I may need to tweak out some of where I use that here and there. On the song We Belong by Pat Benatar, it worked, but it might still be a bit too big for mellower songs like that. It did fill it up. I used it in a clean setting. It was big. My singer plays acoustic guitar during that song. We have a bass player playing electric bass. I figured the baritone would kind of find a nice little spot and really kind of round things out. But it might be a little too big. It felt a little big from my side of the stage, but it was not something that made me kind of freak out like, oh, this is too much for this song. It might be more of how we apply it. Maybe a little bit more drive on it. Maybe give it a little bit more of a dirty or semi-dirty feel. That might be the way to go with applying the baritone for some more of those songs. Now, we did have a few false starts on some songs here and there. Admittedly, we were all a bit nervous about playing live again after 10 months off. And I think that nerves also made us a little hard on ourselves. But overall, it was great to be back. We had a great crowd. All of us in this band seem to have higher standards for ourselves, and sometimes those standards go well past some of where we're at, and that's something we're kind of always shooting for. So it's not a bad thing. So we're moving onward and upward. So looking forward to that. And speaking of the next thing, our next gig is an acoustic type setup. And I'm looking forward to that because I kind of wish we started off with an acoustic type gig to ease back into it rather than an electric type of configuration. So we've kind of got the heavy lifting out of the way. Now we can kind of pare it down and really get it to its essence for what we're doing for this acoustic gig. And again, it's going to be outside, so weather's going to be a factor. We were very lucky on this gig that we did that the weather was absolutely atrocious for, I think, 5 days before. And then I believe the days afterwards, it was ridiculously hot. So we really got kind of like there were 2 days in there for Tuesday and Wednesday that were really great early summer weather days. So no one was sweating and trying to stay cool by going inside the restaurant, or people that were just too cold or not showing up because it's raining. So that was a nice touch on there. So that's great. So anyways, but I am more than happy to get back into gigging on a regular basis, and it's kind of the normal for me, and I'm really digging normal these days. But most importantly, I'd rather, I talk about the gig maybe not being as perfect as we wanted with some false starts, and we were a little nervous on it, and maybe a little hard on ourselves, but I would much rather have a less than perfect gig with musicians that I'm friends with, and in a better sense, they're actually family at this point because I've been playing with them for so long, and I would much rather have that than play the best gig ever with people you don't care about. So that definitely, again, isn't lost on me, and it's very much appreciated the position I'm in to do what I do with some really great people that I also consider friends. So, anyways, if you're getting back into gigging, I'd love to know what you guys are doing to shake off the cobwebs and the rusts. What songs are you looking at playing? Please let me know in the comment section below. If you like this channel, please hit subscribe, and the bell icon will let you know when I put up a new video. And if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. And if you want to share this, well, there's a button for that as well. And you can put it to your social media and text it and email it, so that's great. Anyways, that's about it. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care.